This is a special presentation by Allegany Communications and Magic 100.5, WDYK FM and HD1 Ridgely, an Allegany Communications station. We're proud to call this home. Live from Allegany College of Maryland, the Allegany County Chamber of Commerce and Magic 100.5 presents the 2026 Primary Candidate Forums. Meet the candidates, hear the issues, make informed decisions. With candidate introductions, moderated questions, understand key issues impacting our community. Live from room T118 in the Tech Building, this is the Allegany County Sheriff Candidate Forum on Magic 100.5.
Welcome back to the second session of tonight's Allegany County Chamber of Commerce Candidate Forum. We're joined by candidates for Allegany County Sheriff. There are a total of 3 candidates, all of whom will appear on the primary ballot. These candidates include Rich Godlove, David Morgan, and Andrew Opel. Again, we've communicated with the candidates in terms of inviting them, providing details, including time, place, and format, but questions have not been shared in advance. We're joined again by our panelists, Julie Westendorf, Allegany County Chamber, Ryan Dunn, Chester Federal Credit Union, Trevor DeVore, M&T Bank, Stu Zapsky, Cumberland Economic Development Corporation, and Jeremy Irons will be helping with timekeeping and rules. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an introduction, as well as 2 minutes for wrap-up closing comments. And give me just a second to take my seat, and you can get started.
As was noted, you have 2 minutes each for opening, and we'll start with Rich Godlove. Please tell us about yourself and what draws you to seek the office of Sheriff of Allegany County. Rich?
Good evening. Can you hear me? Okay. Good evening. My name is Rich Godlove. I was born and raised here in Allegany County. I spent my life serving this community in public safety and as a business owner. I bring over 33 years of law enforcement experience across every level that a sheriff must understand to lead properly, from juvenile services to city policing, tactical operations, federal corrections, and now serving as a Maryland Special Police Officer with the Allegany County Public Schools. Alongside that, I bring more than 26 years of business and executive experience managing people, budgets, and operations. So when I talk about leadership, I'm speaking from real experience in both public safety and business management. The Sheriff's Office is not just a law enforcement agency. It's a large taxpayer-funded organization that must run efficiently, transparently, and with accountability. And right now there are problems. When only 2 deputies are sometimes covering the entire county on nights and evenings, while as many as 23 are working the daylight shift, that is a management problem. When policies are outdated by decades and not followed by administration or line staff, that is a leadership problem. When a candidate is denied access to the detention center while others are permitted and union members are threatened to be removed if they meet with other candidates, that tells you everything you need to know and that serious change is needed. This election is not about honoring the past, it's about moving forward. Efficiency means restructuring patrol and assignments, protecting this county and detention center with the same workforce just done right. Accountability starts at the top. Policies should be current, clearly enforced, and followed by everyone, not selectively enforced. Transparency means keeping the public informed, and we should be visible, accessible, and engaged with our communities at county, city, town, and fire department meetings. We should strengthen partnerships across all agencies and bring back real community policing. With deputies assigned to areas and expected to build relationships, we'll no longer answer calls for service over the phone. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, do we continue with a system that has grown comfortable and complacent, or do we move forward with leadership focused on results? Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. David?
Good evening. Thank you. And first of all, with this being National Police Week, I'd just like to honor the men and women that I work with each and every day in this room. I appreciate working with you, and it's been a pleasure. I think we need to support them and honor each and every one of them. So with that said, my name's David Morgan. I'm 54 years old, and I've been a lifelong resident of Allegany County. I graduated from Fort Hill High School and Allegany College with a degree in criminal justice. My wife, Heather, who's with me tonight, her and I have been married for 31 years, and we've both devoted our career to serving in this county. She's currently the principal at John Humbert Elementary School, and we have a son, Chad, who works at ATK. I've been a sworn officer in this county for over 32 years and currently hold the rank of major at the Allegany County Sheriff's Office. That's 3 decades of real Sheriff's Office experience. It's the most important thing that I think sets me apart from these two candidates. Starting as a road patrol deputy in the 90s, I've answered your calls for service in every town and neighborhood in this county. I've been with the citizens of this county in some of their best times and some the absolute worst day of their life. I've worked undercover in C3I narcotics. I've arrested drug dealers and put them in prison. I was a part of initiating the Sheriff's Office first SWAT team, and I led that team in multiple tactical and missions that were successful each and every time. I've worked with the Board of Education, Social Services, the Health Department for years when they needed a real police officer to respond and take action. I've been fortunate in my Sheriff's Office career to be promoted through the ranks, and I feel that I've always led by example. I've never asked anyone under my command to do anything that I wouldn't do with them each and every day. I'm humbled by the fact that they fully support me, and them being here tonight makes it an honor and a privilege to be your major. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Andrew?
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity, the invite to be here. It's a great evening. If you all want to know my experience, qualifications, they're on the website, andrewopalforsheriff.com. It's a lot to go through in 2 minutes. So I just wanted to talk about something else real quick. I want to try and distill the complexity of a human belief system down to a political soundbite for you tonight to let you know what my priorities will be if I move forward in this election. As your sheriff, I will hold 4 main priorities, preeminent over all my responsibilities. Number 1 is Christ. He is King. He is life. He is love. I am nothing without him. Number 2 is the community, the citizenry themselves. The sheriff is a leader only to the extent that he embodies fully being a public servant. Number 3 is the Constitution. It is more than a founding document. It is the foundation of the social contract we call the United States of America. And protecting all of your rights, your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, well, that's something that cops are willing to die for. The 4th priority is going to be the cops themselves, the men and women who face a Herculean task every time they gear up for the day. I know most of the cops in this room. I've worked with a lot of them. I know what they've been through. Mind you, not for 30 years like Mr. Morgan here. Much respect, sir. But what I think the real rub is in this election for the future of Allegany County, and I mean, you can talk about America at large, but we're focusing here, is the real question isn't really who can do the job, because all the men here at this table are more than competent. It's not who deserves it most, because we're all just men. It's about who truly represents you, the citizens, who represents your vision, your values, and your idea for what life will be like for generations to come. My name is Andrew Opal, and I would be honored to serve as your sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
This is a 2-minute question, and we'll start with Rich. The sheriff's office serves a wide geographic area, including communities with very different public safety needs. How do you balance resources and ensure all parts of the county receive adequate coverage?
Well, it goes back to what I was in my intro there with sometimes just 2 and 3 deputies covering the county at nighttime. With 23 sometimes working days, there's positions that have to be filled. But I think by restructuring the judicial branch, looking into the paper service and having real responsibility showed over top to supervise to see what's actually going on. We can do stuff like have special police and special deputies in the courthouse and the detention center. That relieves the responsibility of road deputies from having to respond there. We can look into taking our administrative lieutenants off of daylight by reassigning. As sheriff, I plan on taking a full load of administrative duties as well as my administration. I look to put the supervisors back on a rotating schedule that overlaps the patrol division so that information is passed on and supervision can be done. I look to team up with fire departments and towns to look to put in substations so that officers have a place to go, deputies have a place to go in between calls to keep them in the area. By restructuring the system right now that's in place, we'll be able to put more deputies out with the existing budget without asking the taxpayers for any more money. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. David?
Could you repeat the
Of course,
question?
yeah. The Sheriff's Office serves a wide geographic area, including communities with very different public safety needs. How do you balance resources and ensure all parts of the county receive adequate coverage?
What we have in place now, we cover every aspect of the county, and that is every division. We have separate divisions as far as a patrol division, the judicial division. We have subjects in school resource deputies, but I can let the people know that if there's anything that happens in this county, they get a response from the closest person in a police car, the closest gun and badge. If it's a judicial deputy that just leaves an eviction and he's the closest one to answer that call in any area of the county, he steps up and answers that call. There's some deputies that are assigned specific duties. For example, a deputy assigned to a courtroom, when the judge places someone that's found guilty of a crime in the custody of the sheriff, that deputy immediately takes custody of that individual, and then he's transferred to the detention center. So those deputies are assigned those specific duties. But anyone in the sheriff's office, including myself, including Sheriff Robertson, who's here tonight, we raise our hand and take an oath, and there isn't anyone here that will not respond to any call in this county at any given time. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Andrew?
What is Allegany County? Something like 430 square miles, I believe. Thank you, Sergeant Hill. That's a lot of land to cover. A lot of the areas, people are really spaced out, and this is something that was talked about when I was on the road. Of course, it's a challenge. And the Sheriff's Office, when I worked with them, and from what I can see now, they're doing a bang-up job. They're doing awesome. So I think that to ensure that it gets better, because good enough is not always good enough without not being disparaging in any way. You can be doing great and still want to do better, and I think a couple ways to do that is to look at the available resources, see how you can maximize the resources we do have, look for force multipliers. That's something I learned from many years in the military, force multipliers in the terms of technology, in the terms of relationships, communications, so many different things. And agencies with concurrent jurisdiction, just for a brief example, I have family members in the Maryland State Police here locally, and they voice frustrations about communication difficulties between the barracks and the Sheriff's Office. So really small fixes like that, Sheriff's Office doesn't need a triumphant overhaul, just needs a few small tweaks here and there.
Thank you. We'll have 1 minute for the next question. We're going to start with you, David. How would you approach collaboration with federal law enforcement agencies, and how do you balance those partnerships with the needs and priorities of our local community?
Well, I can tell you right now, the sheriff and I meet with our federal partners at least monthly. The FBI field office, the supervising agent in charge is Jimmy Paul, and we meet with him every month, if not more. Immigration and Customs, the acting director is Vernon Liggins, also meet with him. Homeland Security, that special agent in charge is Chris Heck. He's been in the sheriff's office, and we've set up what's called a post of duty in Cumberland. That means our federal partners are working here currently right now. So anything that's in place, the ATF, that supervisor in charge is Charles, I won't pronounce his last name right, Durer. It's Doerrer. But those partners that we collaborate with on a basis that's at least monthly, sometimes more than that. I've talked to someone from Homeland Security last night, and we're currently, sorry.
Thank you, David. Andrew.
Well, as far as cooperating with federal law enforcement, there's obviously a big need for it, right? There's obviously a need for cooperation with the federal law enforcement agencies of whatever alphabet group they're from, right? But something that is a national issue, and it is an issue in this community as well, is when it comes into small government versus big government. I'm a small government guy. I think we let the feds do what they're going to do. We make agreements with them and use them to the best of Allegany County's needs, what's most important for us. Because sometimes, if you look at the national examples, a lot of times the feds will tell a small town it's their problem when it's not really their problem. And sometimes these agreements, the federal government gets a little loose with their liability options in the agreements, which you again see it nationally and everywhere. So I just think being intentional and careful with these partnerships and make sure that they're actually serving the citizens of the community and not some other community's problem that's 1,000 miles away. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Rich?
Well, I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure our citizens here are protected first. We will work with any federal law enforcement agency, and hopefully we have an advance notice of that so that as leadership we can put a plan in place of how to properly assist them. The state is trying to pass different laws to restrict how we assist with certain federal agencies. Of course, we'll have to follow by the laws, but we'll make sure that we are within the laws and that everybody in our county is protected first. Any further assistance that is needed, like I said, hopefully we have a plan for it. We get notification, and then we can put the proper people in place. Thank you.
Gentlemen, our next question will be a 2-minute question, and I would just like to welcome you and thank each of you for your service to our community and for your interest in continuing to serve. We also posed this question to our county commissioners earlier, so they didn't get off the hook either. But we'd like to ask you how you would work with our county commissioners to develop and manage the budget for the sheriff's office to ensure that the resources align with our current public safety challenges. And we'll begin with Andrew for this question.
Thank you. I'm pretty sure a few of the commissioners voiced this similar answer, and a really big answer might be the biggest is going to be grants, whether it be federal, whether it be state. I believe that there is a lot of grant money on the table. I really believe that there is. Just for example, some of the community work that I've done, this is separate in nonprofit sector, but when you get somebody who really knows the system, and you really empower somebody to really go in there and find out what's available, the resources that are available from larger entities to help small communities like ours are huge. So I just think consistent, clear communication between the Sheriff's Office administration, the county commissioners. Obviously, I think it's going pretty well now, but I think just can, again, always make it better.
Thank you, and we'll move to Rich.
Well, the first thing we need to do before we ask for any money from the county commissioners is make sure the money that we've been allotted has been used efficiently, and any grants. We also need to make sure we put contracts out for open bid. We've seen numerous vehicles sitting down on Industrial Boulevard, and I've yet to see anything of open contract or open bid for hourly rate or parts. The contracts that we currently have in the detention center, not privy to that information, but we look at the food service grant. Is it beneficial to have our own food service workers? Is it beneficial to keep supplying the grants that the contractors that we do? First thing we do is we got to audit. The department completely needs audited. The detention center would need audited, but we need to prove that we're spending our funds efficiently. Is it better to contract our vehicle maintenance and repairs or to use the county garage for repairs? We need to look at every aspect from top to bottom throughout the entire sheriff's office, from the detention center to the courthouse to the road patrol itself. Thank you.
Will you repeat the question for me, please?
Absolutely. How would you work with the county commissioners to develop and manage the budget for the sheriff's office, ensuring that the resources align with the current public safety challenges in our community?
Well, first of all, I feel like I take pride in living within my means personally, and have continued that in how I operate as an administrator at the sheriff's office, that in conjunction with Sheriff Robertson. I think we do live within our means, within our budget. But as both gentlemen said, grants are a huge part of the sheriff's office. I look in the audience today and I see two members that are working on a grant. Their total salary, their vehicle, their equipment, and their overtime is fully funded by a grant. And that's a grant that I can claim that I helped bring to this office. So grant application and getting awarded that grant, those grants, I can think of just off the top of my head there, we're operating under 5 grants, some for overtime, some for enforcement when it comes to drugs that directly result in gun violence. So using our existing budget that we operate under and the grants that we operate on now and new grants that we look for each and every day. I know the county is interested in, has advertised for a new grant writer, and I'd be more than willing to work with that person to ensure that we get the maximum potential for our office. Thank you.
Thank you. This next question is a 2-minute question, and we'll go to Rich first. Legalization of marijuana has created real confusion in the workplace about what employers can and cannot require. As the county's largest law enforcement agency and a visible community institution, what might you propose to assist the business community to help educate the broader workforce? Rich?
Well, this is something that we deal with in the schools. The vapes that are present. What we need to do is look into exactly kind of what's going on now. Stiffer penalties. We don't know the aspects of all these vapes and the THC vapes that are going around. We have kids that will have adverse reactions we need to call ambulances for. What we need to do is put stiffer penalties in place for the people that are supplying these to our children. We need to have a harder focus on the prosecution of that as well, assist in how we can to make sure that everybody's held responsible, just like as we do with the liquor laws. As far as the legalization of it and the support of it, I think that's not necessarily in the sheriff's realm, but we'll support the laws and uphold the laws that the state passes down to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. David, will you repeat it?
Yes, please.
Legalization of marijuana has created real confusion in the workplace about what employers can and cannot require. As the county's largest law enforcement agency and a visible community institution, what might you propose to assist the business community to help educate the broader workforce?
Well, I think, as far as the sheriff's office, and we would mainly concentrate on enforcement and education. We operate now, we do checks for businesses, for the liquor board, for the health department on the tobacco end. We also have been in contact with the governor's office and the comptroller that has an alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis commission. And I'm familiar with that commission and how they check the businesses for their license and how they're taxed. So the cooperation that I see that we already do now with these partners is how I would continue in the future. And anything that would come in the future as far as technology that I would be open to and to enforce that way. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Andrew?
So I'm going to answer this from the perspective of one of my current positions that I have right now, which is Program Director for Adult Teen Challenge, Western Maryland. It's a national nonprofit that does addiction recovery. So one of the biggest issues with legal marijuana is just the lack of knowledge about it by the average consumer of it. A lot of them get most of their education on Facebook, so you can't really blame them. It's not readily available to them. So one of the things that I currently do and would look at having integrated into the community work with the sheriff's office would be having organizations ready, able, and willing to step into that, working with the businesses to not only give education and knowledge to people who are going to be legal users of marijuana, but let them understand they may not feel impaired, but help them understand the perceived impairment and how that comes across on liability for their employers, things of that nature. I really believe that knowledge is power, and so I just think continuing doing what I'm doing and integrating it into that, I think that would probably be pretty helpful for employers and employees alike.
Thank you, Andrew.
This next question is a 2-minute question, and we'll start with David. The Allegany County Detention Center operates treatment and reentry programs designed to reduce recidivism. What is your philosophy around these programs, and how would you evaluate whether they are working?
Well, I can tell you that I'm proud of the way the detention center operates. That JSAP program, I think there's 3 counselors on site every day to see inmates as they come through the door. They're evaluated. They're offered every opportunity to better themselves while they're in the custody of the Allegany County Detention Center. That the detention center is audited by the Maryland Correctional Commission, and we pass those audits every single time 100%. So I'm proud of the work ethic of the detention center employees. I'm proud of the cleanliness and the safety of that facility. And when it comes down to someone coming in there, which this community is loaded with people that have mental health and addiction issues, I know that they're offered. I've seen it firsthand. I've walked in and I've seen my cousin, Christian Robinette, is a JSAP counselor in the detention center, so I have firsthand knowledge of what they're offered there each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Andrew?
I'm not entirely sure that the data supports that any program will effectively cut recidivism to crime. Like, realistically, you may have some data points here and there that suggest that something made a difference, but I can say just from the years down in Florida on the streets and then the years here, it's the same 2% of the population over and over again. So I know that Major Morgan is correct. There are a lot of great resources for that here, for people who are seeking freedom from a life of crime, drugs, poverty, and despair. And I really think that we don't really hear about the success stories. We hear about the negatives. So I think that one of the commissioners mentioned this earlier too, the frustration with the negativity in this town. One of the positive things you can do for recidivism overall of course, the partnerships, the programs, all that stuff, keep that going, look for more. But one of the biggest things you can do is champion those people who have broken free from the cycle. Champion those people, give them real opportunities in the community, give them real opportunities at employment, real opportunities at clean housing, real opportunities at solid social life. Championing those, letting those stories out, that kind of stuff gives hope to a hurting community. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Rich?
So, I got to agree with what Chief Powers in Cumberland says, one life, one day at a time. I don't know that the data supports what works and what doesn't. I think it comes down to the individual finally having enough hitting rock bottom. One of the things that I was looking at to do was develop a restorative practice program with our deputies. Deputies get called for overdoses, emergency petitions for mental situations, domestic incidents. I want to have our deputies do a restorative practice program. So a week, couple days, later after the incident, they go back to that same house and they offer true outreach programs, counseling options, different resources for these people in crisis to use that would look to prevent, I guess, recidivism, repeat calls, free up our deputies on the road. AHEC West has great resources to use as well. We currently use them with the Board of Education now. They test our things that we confiscate. So I would, again, look to do a restorative practice program with our deputies, starting with them, and then bring that same program back into the detention center so that it's kind of a continuing process if these people come back in on the same problems and issues again and again.
Thank you. Next question will be 2 minutes, and we're going to start with Andrew. Law enforcement agencies nationwide have been forced to reevaluate their personnel management due to difficulties with recruitment and retention. What specific changes would you implement to more efficiently utilize existing deputies?
More efficiently use existing deputies? Is that the crux of the question? If I can touch on recruitment and retention before I go to using the existing deputies, because, let's face it, there's always a flow in and a flow out, whether it be just people leaving, people retiring, things of that nature. Recruiting high performers with high standards, you retain them with higher standards. You don't necessarily retain people in the job with more money and more benefits. That's great, but that's not necessarily what retains people. And I know that personally because I left law enforcement for a good salary for a $0 a year salary and nonprofit. It didn't retain me. That wasn't the thing that made me want to stay. And unfortunately, I think that's the point people go to a lot. As far as utilizing the existing deputies to maximize our effectiveness, I think it comes down to higher standards of operations, and not that you don't already have high standards. I worked for you. I know what your standards are like. But even higher standards, if we're going to be limited to, 40 deputies, including administration, if you're going to be limited to that for 430 square miles just based on budgetary things, you got to make people better at what they do. You got to get them more training. You got to give them more knowledge. You got to give them more skills. And you just have to give them more support for the exhaustion that they're inevitably going to feel when the day is over. I really think that's the answer. It's just we got to suck it up, buttercup, and get it done.
Thanks, Andrew. Going to go to Rich.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. Law enforcement agencies nationwide have been forced to reevaluate their personnel management due to difficulties with recruitment and retention. What specific changes would you implement to more efficiently utilize existing deputies? To better utilize the deputies, again, I think it comes down to a little bit better management by assigning areas and having true supervision and accountability and follow-up to these areas, true patrol checks in certain areas that can restore accountability with the supervision down through the deputies. As far as the staffing and recruitment, I'm looking to launch a cadet program. Cadets can eliminate a lot of work that falls on road deputies, civil paperwork, administrative support, deliveries, traffic control, some event operations. By them eliminating some of the responsibilities on the deputies, we can also look at if they're a right fit for our department. Do they have what it takes to continue on after the cadet program is finished for them? That stops people from leaving, making sure that they're a right fit for the agency. But, so a cadet program and better supervision and accountability across the board. Thank you. Thank you, Rich. David?
Repeat that for me one more time.
Law enforcement agencies nationwide have been forced to reevaluate their personnel management due to difficulties with recruitment and retention. What specific changes would you implement to more efficiently utilize existing deputies?
I'll start with, what I'm proud of is I'm proud of, we're probably the only sheriff's office in the state right now that has 0 openings. So every agency in the state has openings to fill, and we are completely full with what we have on our manpower. So I'll start with the people that here, and I look and I see them around the room, the guys that I work with each and every day. They are assigned areas. I can look at them and see exactly where they're supposed to be, each person in this room. So I'm proud of the fact that every guy here doesn't know his mission at the sheriff's office and his area of work. Do we go out of that to answer calls for service? Like I said in the opening, everyone in here has been a part of someone's worst day of their entire life. And I'm proud to work with each and every one of them that I see here today. I know what they do. I know their families. I know what they respond to. We're a family, and a part of that family is probably the reason that we have 0 openings. There's every agency probably in this county, including the Maryland State Police, and all the sheriff's office have openings for hire, and we're completely full. Now, I will add that I've spoke to the Frederick County Sheriff and the Washington County Sheriff, and they do 2 things completely different, but I would like a hybrid, and I see some of the commissioner candidates stuck around. The Frederick County Sheriff is allowed to operate 14 deputies over his minimum manpower. The Washington County Sheriff has committed with their commissioners on a 10-year plan to go from 118 deputies to 150 deputies. So I would like some similar, like a hybrid of both of those to continue if I'm fortunate enough to be your next sheriff to operate in that capacity. Thank you.
Gentlemen, your next question will be 2 minutes each, and we'll begin with Rich on this one. Business owners and residents have expressed concern that sometimes they feel property crime, theft, and quality of life issues do not receive the adequate attention from local law enforcement. So how do you prioritize these concerns of our citizens alongside addressing more serious crimes?
Well, we gotta develop a better flow of what we're doing here with the assignments, because if we're completely full right now, but still we're only having 2 deputies sometimes work the entire county for nights and evenings, well, then something's got to change. Right now, with roughly 40 deputies, counting the sheriff in there, I think we need to look at reassigning people, better management to figure out how that has to operate. Because when I go around and speak to people, I hear constantly from Old Town, Little Orleans, Westernport, that they don't get a response, or it's 45 minutes, and that's not prompted. That's a kind of a common thing. So with 2 and 3 assigned deputies, I understand why in the county that it would take so long, but with true assigned areas, true supervision, putting lieutenants back on to the shifts, bringing in the cadets to relieve some administrative duties by taking a full shift of administrative duties. That's the only way we're going to do it, by putting more deputies on the road, hiring the special police and special deputies at the courthouse and detention center. The fairgrounds, we can do special police and special deputies, eliminating the need for overtime there. If we can cut out some of the overtime, we can hire more deputies. We got to look at also the contracting that's going on. We have 2 personnel here that's making between them about $150,000 a year for what I'm told is being cutting grass. Can we contract that out? Can we bring deputies in and hire more deputies to put on the road? I think so. It starts with a complete audit of everything that's going on here. Thank you.
Thank you. Are you?
Me?
Yep. Are you comfortable with the question?
Will
Do you need
repeat it one more time, please?
Of course. Business owners and residents sometimes feel that property crime, theft, and quality of life issues do not receive adequate attention from local law enforcement. So how do you, if elected sheriff, prioritize these concerns while dealing with more serious crime?
Well, I can tell you, if there's a call for service and it's dispatched to a deputy, we respond to every single call that's dispatched to us. There's no call that goes unanswered. And myself as a major, the sheriff sitting there as the sheriff, he's answered calls for service. I've answered calls for service. And in every property crime, whether it's the smallest to when it goes to a felony, we do our best to be successful and produce a case that the state's attorney's office can prosecute to get those results. One thing, here in Western Maryland, we're under what's called guidelines. When a defendant is found guilty, he's under some guidelines that are driven by the state, that we don't have any control over that here. But I can tell you that the men and women in this room do their absolute best to put together a case to present to the state's attorney's office and the court on each and every crime that we face. I'm proud of that, and I've continued that my whole career. Like I said in the beginning, I've never asked any one of them to answer a call or do anything that I'm not willing to do with them each and every day. And from the smallest crime to, I meet with the state's attorney's office and C3I. Maybe most everybody in this room knows what C3I is. They're the ones that handle the major crimes. So from the smallest crime, I meet weekly with the state's attorney's office on the major crimes, and we do our best effort to produce something that's going to have successful prosecution. Thank you.
Thank you. And Andrew?
So I think one of the main things that stood out to me in that question was about how business owners and community members, they feel and perceive that these property crimes and quality of life crimes are not receiving equal attention. I can say from my experience, the men I've worked with in here, and just from, like I said, I know the standards of the agencies I worked for. I can assure you that, I understand you have that feeling, but I can assure you that they do receive the adequate attention. What I think the issue is that, we're still figuring out as a society how to stop these things from happening, and property crime rates are insane for this area. The property crime rates and quality of life crimes are out of control. It doesn't matter if they receive equal attention, they keep happening. So what it really comes down to is looking at the agencies and the jurisdictions across the country who have addressed this issue and see what they've done successfully. For example, there is a large multi-university sponsored study. The data does support this across the nation for communities like ours with similar size demographics. I don't remember the exact numbers, so I'm not going to misquote them. But for every X amount of police interaction, and I say positive police interaction, getting out of your vehicle, talking to 5 people inside of a store, right? For every X amount of police interaction, there was a corresponding percentage drop of the likelihood of a crime happening in that area over the next 7 days. So it really, again, like I said in an earlier answer, kind of just, it's a hard job. We got to do more work. So if that means we got to get out of our cars more, we got to walk around, we got to shake more hands, kiss more babies to make it stop. The data does show that this is being used quite successfully. And I know the number one concern is going to be, well, who has the time? Boy, we better find it.
Thank you. Next question is a 2-minute question. It goes to David first. Effective public safety depends on community trust. What would you do to strengthen the relationship between the sheriff's office and the residents and business owners of Allegany County?
I feel that I'm out in the community each and every day. I meet with the residents prior to filing for this office. I feel that my 30 years at the sheriff's office speaks for itself. I wouldn't even consider sitting here tonight and filing for this office if I didn't feel that I have the relationship and the respect of each and every community. Like I said, I've responded to calls in every town and every neighborhood in this county for 32 years. 30 years as the sheriff's office. And I feel that I don't take that lightly. I'm proud of my record. I'm proud of how I've functioned through the sheriff's office. My first promotion to corporal, I went to night shift. I've worked daylight, night shift. I've worked in C3I. And when you have all aspects of this office, that allows you opportunities with the business owners. I've done we do evictions 2 a day, 5 days a week. So I have that connection with the property managers in this community. Any businesses, the business that are sitting right in front of me today. I spoke to his brother-in-law about an incident where he thought a vehicle was stolen, a belt truck was stolen, and it ended up not being. But I have that. Who did Mr. Madden call? He called David Morgan is who he called. So I feel I have that relationship with the businesses in this community, and I look forward to it continuing. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Andrew?
Increasing trust in a community, what a wild human concept, right? Well, how do you increase trust with your friends? How do you increase trust with your spouse? How do you increase trust with anybody that you interact with? You're present, you're integrated, and you communicate. It's that simple. So I don't see where the sheriff's office is not present in the community. I don't see where they're not integrated right into the daily life of the community. The only thing that I would say might need some bolstering a little bit would be the communication. I would say the communication goes a long way with the trust. The things as simple as the speed of a response when a victim of a crime is sending you an email wanting an update. Hey man, maybe it's your day off. Maybe it takes you 3 days to get to that. Things like that can really, for this person who's in an altered state of mind, having dealt with something, they can easily turn around and be like, oh man, you can't trust them, they don't do anything, this, that, and it's completely, so just small things like that for streamlining communication between the people and the sheriff's office. Because one of the things they'll teach you in Police Academy is it's real easy to get an us versus them mentality when you're a cop, when people are trying to kill you all the time, but it's not. It is not us versus them. It's me, it's you, we're all neighbors. So just finding ways to streamline communication, finding, honestly, again, like I said, knowledge is power, more ways to give people an adequate expectation of what's going to happen. Maybe tell them, hey, you're not going to hear nothing for a month. We're just being real with you. You don't want to tell anybody that, but sometimes it's got to be said. And if you're willing to tell the hard truths, well, trust will increase.
Thank you, Andrew. Rich?
When people see presence and consistent follow-through, that grows trust naturally. Trust is built through exactly those two things. When you're constantly present and you're involved in the people, they begin to trust you. When you have follow-through and follow-up to your investigations, and I agree with Andrew, I'm not saying that that's not done now, but we're stretched thin, so we got to find a better way to get more deputies in more areas of this county on a consistent basis. Because when they don't see it, people don't see it consistently, they tend to lose trust. I'm not saying that they don't distrust the sheriff's office now. I'm not saying that. But we can strengthen it by assigning the areas, the restorative practice program I had mentioned, giving true follow-up, and allowing people to see people for who they are, coming into their areas, getting out of the vehicles, walking in Westernport, doing actual traffic enforcement where it's hard to do on Route 51 in Old Town, driving out to the fire departments, attending fire department meetings. Small communities like Flintstone, Old Town, Little Orleans, and Westernport, they have fire department meetings and town meetings. We got to get there and get engaged. As sheriff and my administration, that will be our job. It won't be a 9 to 5 for us. We'll be there, present, speaking to people, finding out what their problems and concerns are. Hopefully meeting deputies in those areas to get out and walk Main Street of Westernport, walk into the fire departments and see what's going on with our people. That's how we can help build the trust.
Thank you, Rich.
We will now have closing remarks, and everybody will have 2 minutes, starting with Andrew.
I must have missed the part in the email invitation where I had to prepare a closing remark, so I'll keep this brief, everybody. I guess I'll pick a little bit from my closing remarks they gave at the Republican Alliance meeting about a month and a half ago that was held at Oscars. Both these gentlemen here have so much experience, right? And, right, like, I'm a millennial. I read my speech off my phone, right? I did find the notebook last minute. So I'm a little bit younger. I may have a little bit different perspective on things. But what I really think that Allegany County would benefit from is somebody who sees a little bit farther into the future. No disrespect to anybody here, but a lot of these questions are, we have issues right here, right now. What are we doing about it? I would like to talk with the community about what's happening 10 years from now, because it's basic pattern recognition. You can see small town America, what's happening to them everywhere. And so that's really my main focus as candidate for sheriff. And I guess the final thing that I would share with y'all is Christ is King, and Jesus loves you.
Thank you, Andrew. Rich?
You've heard a lot here tonight during this forum and throughout this campaign. You've seen posts, statements, and conversations that a lot don't focus on solutions. They focus on plans and don't focus on moving this county forward. You've also seen what happens when a system feels threatened, when people get comfortable in your tax dollars and complacency sets in. Promises are made and favors are owed, and the focus shifts away from you. It turns into distraction and attempts to discredit real solutions that break away from the status quo. When a system is strong, it proves itself through my exact campaign platform: efficiency, accountability, and transparency, and how it serves the people. That's exactly why law enforcement professionals, correctional staff, business owners, and citizens across this county are supporting this effort. That's why I step forward when asked. I step forward with a plan. We can't be efficient if we're not accountable. I'm the only candidate with an executive business background and decades of law enforcement across every level that a sheriff must understand to lead. I'm a proven leader, and I'm the only one with a plan to fix what's broken and move this office forward. A plan to put more deputies on the road without asking for more tax money. A plan to reduce response times and strengthen all divisions. A plan to restore real accountability through strong leadership and updated policies. A plan to manage your tax dollars with a business-minded approach. That's the difference. I'm offering real change that is structured and experienced, ready day one to make changes. So this election comes down to one simple question. Do you want a system that protects itself, or do you want a sheriff that protects you? With your vote June 23rd, we'll finally rewrite the mission statement, putting the people first, and build the best sheriff's office this county has ever seen. Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. David?
I've made one promise in this campaign, and it's a promise to the citizens of Allegany County that I will serve them in the same manner, in the same capacity that I have for over 30 years at the sheriff's office. I'm proud to be a part of the growth and the progress of the sheriff's office that it's made in my 30 years of being there. Dedication, experience, the institutional knowledge of this job, and my leadership ability are the qualities that I feel I've proven in my career at the sheriff's office, all while conducting myself in a professional manner. Sheriff Robertson, he's in the room tonight. I want to thank you for your leadership and for what you've done for this community in these last 16 years as sheriff, and I'm honored to serve under you as a lieutenant, as a captain, and now your major. To the men and women in the audience tonight, and if you're listening out here on the radio, the Sheriff's Office, the Union FOP 144 that serves our patrol division, the detention center, it's been a privilege and an honor to work with you each and every day, and to have your endorsement and your unwavering support is truly an honor, and you have no idea what that means to me. To the other agencies, the state police, the city police, Frostburg City, Cumberland City, even the Natural Resource Police that we work with each and every day, to have their support that I know that I have is examples of my close working relationship with each and every agency. Finally, I feel I've shown that my sheriff's office experience is unmatched due to having a working knowledge of every aspect of this agency, knowledge of the patrol division, corrections, corrections, alternative sentencing, the courts, and the judicial. And that's why I feel I'm the best qualified candidate to lead this agency into the future. My pledge as the Sheriff of Allegany County is to lead this agency with the same honor and integrity that I've represented this agency for my entire career. Thank you, and God bless you.
Our candidate forums will be back again on Thursday for our final one of the primary, which is the mayor of Cumberland. And then we will be in the city of Frostburg on Monday evening. Thank you again to the candidates, to Allegany Communications, Magic 100.5, Allegany College of Maryland, and to our panelists. Another reminder, early voting runs June 11th through 18th, and Election Day is June 23rd. If you're not registered to vote, you can do that at elections.maryland.gov. The Allegany County Chamber of Commerce encourages everyone to vote and make informed decisions. Thank you and good night.
This has been an exclusive presentation by Allegany Communications, the Allegany County Chamber of Commerce, and Magic 100.5, WDYK FM HD1 Ridgely, an Allegany Communications station. We're proud to call this home. Now back to Cumberland's greatest hits, Magic 100.5.